I stepped up and took over Portsmouth with the goal of getting them back to the Premier League within this rebuild in just 5 years. Let's dive in. So we've joined Pompy at the end of the 22-23 season where they finished 8th in the Sky Bet League 1, missing out narrowly on those playoffs. But I've set the goal of getting Pompy not only up into the Championship, but all the way to the Premier League in just 5 years. We'll be using the MurphFM Ultimate 4-2-3-1, which I released just last week. If you want to get involved and try that tactic out, it'll be linked down below. You can see it here on the video popping up your screen right now. But yeah, great tactic. It's worked very well in testing, and I thought, let's try it over a 5-year period, but this time with Portsmouth down in the Sky Bet League 1. But diving into this rebuild, there's a few key players that do want to build around this season, starting off with Colby Bishop playing up front for us this season, 26-year-old striker, and he looks very good for this level. I mean, the acceleration and pace aren't exactly where I want it to be for this sort of player, but I'm looking at that finishing, decent composure there of 12 as well. Off the ball of 13 is pretty darn good as well, and a high work rate of 15. I love a pressing forward with a big, high work rate. The next one is Tom Lowry in that centre midfield role. He's going to be playing more as a CDM this season in that DM position. You can see now if you highlight him on screen. So the attributes he does have are pretty good for that role, but I'm worried about that marking of 5. Will he be good enough to be defensively in this team and help us push forward and win them balls back? And hopefully pushing that ball out wide to those wingers to get the balls into the box for that key striker we just mentioned just a minute ago. Larry looks pretty good at the age of 25 still, so not a bad player, but someone we can probably use for the first 2 or 3 seasons to see how he develops and if we can still use him when it gets to season 5, if we can get, of course, to the Premier League. And I've noted Joe Rafferty as a key player at the start of this. The left back who gets good crossing at 12 there. He can get up and down the line, pace of 11, acceleration of 12. It's not too bad, but I do like his tackling. Good work rate 15 as well. I do mention earlier, I love a good high work rate. 15 plus work rate, you get in my team straight away. Passing at 12, marking of 11, so he's good defensively as well. But again, on the attack, he can get crosses in, so hopefully he can go balls into the box and find Bishop and get some goals for us this season. So we'll dive ahead then now to the end of season 1, see how we got on in our first season here at Portsmouth in the Sky Bet League 1. And we're back, season 1 in the bag, and we've actually done pretty darn good in our first season. You can see we actually gained promotion, getting 2nd place in the Sky Bet League 1. I thought we was at one point we was going to end up in the playoffs, but we managed to avoid it narrowly in the end. You can see now on screen the actual league table. Of course, coming in 2nd place there, gaining automatic promotion after the 46 games, winning 23, drawing 16, only losing 7 all season. We actually lost 1 less than the league champions this season, and we scored more goals than them as well, getting 82 goals ahead of their 75, and we even conceded 1 less goal in this season. So a very good season. We were quite unlucky at the end of the season not to we could have actually won the title early days. We were quite close to it, and you see we had some pretty good results along the way, but losing to like Walsall 3-1 there later on in the season as well, losing 1-0 to Tranmere. It's those little results that saw us in the end not being able to go the entire way and win the league title. But we have gained promotion in our first season, and we will be going into the Sky Bet Championship. Some other mentions we'll probably mention as well. Emirates FA Cup, we did pretty well in the FA Cup, getting as far as the 4th round before we get knocked out by Leicester. The Carabao Cup got as far as the 2nd round before being knocked out by Wolverhampton Wanderers as well. Papa John's, we lost to Walsall. We lost to Walsall quite a lot this season, oddly enough, for a team that hasn't really challenged us in the league table, as you can see here now on screen. They finished 19th. But when it came to the league, they beat us in the league and actually beat us in the Papa John's trophy. But again, our main goal for this season was getting that automatic promotion, which we have secured now. We could have won the league title, it was close, but again, promotion in the bag, we move into the Sky Bet Championship. And of course, in our first season, we've started the database, of course, in the 23-24 season. No transfers were made in that first season, so the squad is already good enough at the start of the game to get you promoted in that first season. So the squad was already there, and now we have a little bit of money going into the Championship. So it ain't too bad, really. We've got 6 million to spend as we go into the Championship now. Season number 2, let's get that underway and see how we get on and get some transfers through the door and see where we can end up for season number 2, starting things off in the Sky Bet Championship. So we're back now at the end of the season number 2 now. Our first one, of course, in the Sky Bet Championship. But first, I want to touch up on some transfers, of course. In that first season we mentioned previously, we made no transfers. But ahead of the Sky Bet Championship starting, we went and spent only 1.1 million. So not lots of money because we had that 6 million to spend. We did say quite a lot of it. But we did bit quite a bit into some of the wages. Let's mention, starting off with the transfers we did bring in at first. Owen O'Connell came in from Wrexham. A great centre-back, 29 years of age. Again, he added a bit more depth to us as a centre-back. I did feel like he would be a starter for us as well, in which case he did end up starting a lot of games this season. You can see he played 30 games in total, 8 from the bench, getting 7 goals as well. We then spent 400,000 on Noel Enos, formerly of Plymouth. He made the switch over to Portsmouth, 400k, not a bad deal, really fair. 19 games in his first season, getting 2 goals. So it wasn't an out-and-out start for us this season, but some vital goals for us there. Only 2 though, so I'd like a bit more than that from him. But again, still a very good striking player out wide for us as well this season if we wanted to. So something we probably will use in the coming season and see where we can fit him in. If it would be out wide, through the middle, or even just as a backup player. But not Enos, not a bad capture for just 400k. Next up, we bought in Fagan Walcott. He came on a free transfer from Tottenham Hotspur. He was released at the end of last season by them, following a loan spell at Fleetwood. He played 9 times this season, didn't really do much, a 6.93 average rating overall for the season. But again, for a free transfer, it's not bad business really. He's getting 5k a week right now, so as someone who isn't probably going to be starting, it might be a little bit too much for the Championship, but we'll see how things go. It could become a bit better in the future, but right now, not expecting too much more from him. We also bought in Jordan Clark then. He came on a free transfer after being released by Luton. Of course, Luton, by this point, were in the Premier League as well. So, Clark released, very good midfielder. Can play a few different roles in midfield, can play out wide if we really need him to as well, and can play in that DM role as well. So, a very versatile midfielder to bring in on a free transfer as well. I mean, his valuation's already gone up already to 3.7 million. So, again, if we wanted to cash it in, we could easily do so on 12 grand a week as well. He's not a bad little capture, really. I mean, in his first season, you can see now, 43 games, 5 goals, 5 assists. He's done pretty darn good in his first season here at Pompey. This next one I thought was a bit of a coup, getting Helder Costa back to the Championship. Of course, he started his career over at Wolves in the Championship when he first moved to England. Had a few seasons there for making the switch to Leeds, of course, for 16 million. And after a few loan spells, it hasn't really worked out for him. He was released by Leeds at the start of the 24 season, and we grabbed him straight away and brought him back to the Championship. He played 28 games this season, getting 7 goals, 4 assists, 2 player of the match awards. Not a bad first season for the Angolan international. Next up was Yuta Nakayama, came in and also on a free transfer, the former Japan international, of course. He's played around Europe for a few seasons here over in Holland. Managed to Huddersfield for a free transfer, but again was released at the end of that first season, so we dived in straight away and picked him up. Played 43 games, getting 1 goal this season. Not bad really for the centre back. We have rotated him a few times into left back and in centre back this season, but not a bad option really. 15 grand a week. He's already got a bit of valuation already about him, so if we were looking to sell him at the end of the season, we could probably make a pretty penny on him. The next one up, Raheem Harper, of course, formerly of West Bromwich Albion. Again, he's had a few loan spells, went to Ipswich last season, didn't work out there again. So again, free transfer. He isn't a starter for us, 6 appearances, so not many appearances this season. But again, for a pretty good rotational player, he's not awful. I mean, he's not got a lot mentally for what I really like. I like that high work rate I mentioned previously. People who can get forward and really impress us. But again, as a backup player, he's not too shabby. This next one will be quite interesting though. Mesut Ozil made the switch to the Sky Bet Championship. 11 grand a week now for the former, I mean, he won it all, Champions League winner and everything. He's now at Portsmouth. Of course, after leaving Arsenal, went to Fenerbahce, went to Başakşehir, and after a season there, made the free transfer over to Portsmouth. He's had a pretty good season, to be fair. So 35 games, 5 goals, 3 assists. He has still got it at age 36, and still looks very good. A good first touch there, 20 as well. Technique of 20, passing of 18 as well. Vision of 17. I mean, there's a few bits there. Physically, he looks absolutely garbage, but for a stationary player, get the ball into him, ping it over, get those assists, and even got a few goals. I'm quite happy with that transfer, and he had a very good first season here at Portsmouth. So we cap things up with a bit of loan action as well. Rodrigo Muniz came in on loan from Fulham for the season. Not a bad season really on the loan spell for us. Played 31 times, 9 goals, 2 player of the match awards. Again, he's filled a gap in. He's came in and done a lot more than what I thought he would do this season. He started 21 games, 10 from the bench, but 9 goals. That's not a bad return at all. We then had Hayden Roberts coming from Brighton on loan for the season. Very good centre back this year in FM as well. I do like him very much. Again, last season went to Stoke on loan. Did all right, but for us, a very good season. 38 games, 4 goals, 1 assist, and 2 player of the match awards for him. I mean, straight away, I'm looking there straight away. 6 foot, not the biggest centre backs, but again, jumping reach of 13. He didn't get that high in the air, but he bagged a few goals this season, so I'm guessing from set pieces. And then lastly, we took Longello of Birmingham City, of course, my own Birmingham City. He came on loan for the season. Very good attacking fullback on that left-hand side this season. He had a pretty good season as well with 2 assists in them 36 games. Not a bad return from them transfers. There's a few that went out as well. You can see on the right-hand side as well. Clark Robinson, Stuart White, Traynor, Stewart, Gifford, Sadie. Not players I want to use. A few went on loan, 3 transfers. Not really anyone I was going to lose. But let's dive in and see what happened in this first season. So, first one in the Sky Bet Championship. We were told to avoid relegation. We did one better than that. We finished 11th in the table. We can dive in properly now and see the full results. So yeah, Not bad. 46 games. We won 19, drawing 8, losing 19 all seasons. We did lose quite a few at 19. But the fact we got mid-table in our first season here in the Sky Bet Championship, I'm very, very happy with that. I mean, we didn't do too badly today. Look at it in terms of goals as well. 65 goals. We've got more goals than teams above us like Blackpool as well, there you can see. I mean, we're still a long way away from the likes of Norwich and Watford. But again, they're pretty much established Premier League teams who go up and down every season. So the fact that we got that sort of level already isn't too bad. Finishing ahead of some big teams, and I hate to see it, but he got 4 points. That's absolutely horrible. But they were deducted 12 points at the start of the season. You can see there in the bottom left-hand corner. So yeah, not a bad first season. In terms of the cups, we got as far as the FA Cup 4th round before Aston Villa knocking us out, and in the Carabao Cup, we went out the first round to Ipswich, of course, who were in the playoffs this season. So we do have 3 million in the bank now going into the new season. So we'll go forward now another year, season number 3, and see how far we can take this Portsmouth side. Can we get a bit further and aim for those playoffs? And we're back, season 3 in the bag, all done. Sky Bet Championship, another season complete. Our third season now in charge of Portsmouth. We're going to start things off firstly looking at our transfer business. So we spent 775k this window. We're not spending a lot of money so far. We're trying to save this money and try and just tick it over each season. I mean, from last season, you saw what happened last season. We did all right with quite a few players coming in last season. This season, though, we haven't done that much business. We'll go with the free transfers first, starting with Zidane Iqbal coming in from Manchester United. He was released by them. He had a very good first season as well for us here at Portsmouth. 44 games, 1 goal, 6 assists, 1 player of the match award. Not bad in his first debut season. Joined then by Xavier Simmons, course probably of Chelsea. Had loan spells last season at Birmingham City and Preston previously, but we took him on a free transfer this year to Portsmouth. And he had a very good first season in the Championship as well. In 36 games, bagging 2, 3 assists, a 7.01 overall average rating. Not bad for the midfielder defender. He can play a few different roles, actually. He played a lot in midfield this season in that DM role for us. But again, going forward, we'll see whereabouts going to play more often. But bit of a big wage as well, 27 grand. That's our biggest wage so far in this save. But again, looks a very good player, 23 years of age, can probably be one of our starters for the rest of this save. We then brought in 2 loan moves, starting with Matty Pollock coming on loan from Watford. Again, the defence has been the weakest area for me so far, conceding too many goals, so I want to get some better defenders in. Pollock came in mainly as a backup really on loan this season, because you'll see the other loanee in just a moment. But again, on loan, 650k, so we paid a fair bit of money to get him here on loan for us. But he did play 33 games in total. I mean, 26 were from the bench after all, but 3 goals, 1 assist. Not a bad return really for the Watford defender, because the big money went on this guy. We bought in Reece Williams on loan from Liverpool, of course, on 12 grand a week. We paid his full wage to get him in the club on loan for the season, and he was going to be our starter in that defence this season. And he had a really good and I could say amazing season in defence, really. You see there, 42 games, 16 goals from set pieces. He scored an absolute abundance of headers this season. He's absolutely scoring them for fun. Really good player, to be fair, actually. 25 years of age now. He's still on the up as well. Like, he could be potential to 4.5-star ability for us as well. So he's already at 4-star already. So again, someone I would like to try and buy at the end of this cut loan. Luckily though, he's out of contract. He's out of the contract now at the end of this season. So hopefully we can bring Reece Williams back for that next season. Which probably should touch on what actually happened this season for Portsmouth. So we actually made the playoffs this season. We did get into the top 6 now. Actually, we touched on the league table. Firstly, you can see now on screen, we came 4th. I mean, bit of a spoiler, we actually won the playoffs. We came 4th in the league, and 46 games, winning 23, drawing 12, only losing 11 all season. That's not bad. There's level with Blackburn there, both losing 11 all season. But we scored 93 goals. That's more goals than the league champions and second place in West Ham and Bristol City. So we scored more goals than both of those 2 teams, and then we conceded a few more goals. So we did concede 64 goals. So we're still quite leaky in defence, but again, a very good season, which did see us actually get promoted. We can go through the playoffs now. In the semi-finals, we beat Sunderland 2-2, and penalties came to that in the end. It came to penalty shootout, and Portsmouth did the job and got through to that playoff final where we took on Blackburn, team who were just narrowly above us at Wembley, of course, and we beat them 2-1 in that playoff final. So promotion in the bag already. We've already got into the Premier League in just 3 seasons with Portsmouth already. I mean, FA Cup wise didn't go very well. Luton Town knocked us out in the 3rd round. The Carabao Cup again. 1st round again. Bristol Rovers this time. We don't do very well in the Carabao Cup. That's something I have noticed so far within this save. But into the Premier League we go with 37 million to spend. In 3 seasons already, we've gone from the Sky Bet League 1 into the Championship, came mid-table in the Championship in the 2nd of the season. Season number 3, won the playoffs, and now we go into the Premier League with 37 million to spend. This is absolutely insanity so far from Pompey. Let's see what will happen now as we go into season 4 and see what will happen in our first season in the Premier League. And we're back, season 4 in the bag now. Our first one in the Premier League. Of course, we mentioned we had 37 million to spend ahead of this transfer window closing. And I mean, with that sort of money going into the Premier League, it's not a bad way to start. I mean, we started things off straight away with that money. Adam Ida came in for 7 million. Not a bad transfer, really coming in, of course, from Norwich. And again, first season, he's done pretty darn good as well. Not a bad first season for him. And then we went and started spending some big money. But yeah, transfers for that season, of course, Reece Williams, we mentioned he was available on a free transfer. We did actually cash that in straight away. We offered him a contract, and of course, after that loan spell with us that season, he was more than happy to accept. So Reece Williams made the switch from Liverpool to Portsmouth, of course, now in the Premier League. 50 grand a week. It's a lot of money to spend on Reece Williams. But I thought that first season did really well for us. I thought, I'm going to trust him. I've got faith in him. He did well for us before. Let's get him back now in the Premier League, and hopefully he can do the business once more. We then went back to Birmingham City, of course, with Lone Longfellow in that first season. We went back this time, took Jordan James from Birmingham City. Quite a cheap deal, actually, fair. Less than £1 million to get Jordan James across the board for us. I mean, he's not one of the best midfielders in our team right now, but again, a very good midfielder, played pretty well in that first season for us. Again, not a bad acquisition. Good young player, and hopefully we can develop a little bit more within this save. Danny McNamara came in then as well as a rotational player on that right-hand side. Again, he's got a lot more to look for. Decent work rate of 13, acceleration of 13, pace 12. He can get up and down the line, he can cross the ball, he can dribble, he can pass, he can tackle. He does exactly what I want. I want attacking fullbacks and wing-backs on support in this tactic. They need to zip forward and do the business for us, and again, he can do that quite darn easily for us. Next up, I thought we need a new goalkeeper. So Murat Rodak came in, of course, from Burnley. It was quite a cheap transfer in the end. You can see here now he didn't do too badly. 5 million coming in for that first season. Got 7.1 in his first season. Of course, you can see now we've actually got season 5 and season 4 all wrapped into 1 4 year. So again, 38 games, 47 appearances, 9 clean sheets. That's not bad, really, for the keeper. He looks pretty good on good as well still, man. Slovakia caps now, got 44 caps, so he's Slovakia's first team keeper at this point as well within the game. And again, he looks pretty darn good. Paulo Mauro was the next one to join us, of course. He went from Arsenal to Fulham in that first season. We paid 2.2 million to bring him in that first season. Did pretty darn good, to be fair. 2 goals in the first season for 34 appearances. Again, pretty good. Age 34 now, he's one of the older players in this team. But again, we brought him in for a bit more of an experienced head. Of course, now, this is showing now he's actually joining Shakhtar at the end of this season. But for the first 2 seasons, he didn't do too badly at all. Next up, we spent 3.3 million on Aaron Hickey, someone I've used a few times in FM this year. So I do really enjoy using him because his versatility playing on the right and the left-hand side, of course. He's got a very strong left foot, but a strong right foot as well, so you can play him on either of those sides. He's got pace, he's got acceleration, he's got good work rate. Dribbling, you've heard me say this stuff before now, sort of thing. Obviously, we bought in Danny McNamara originally for the right back position. So for Hickey coming in, we put him on the left, but he can also cover that right hand side. A very good player to bring in as well in this game. He came in for a total of 3.3 million from Brentford. It wasn't being used then for us. He's a start at straight away. So a very good option to get in there for us. Nathan Ferguson was the next one. 2 million deal for him. Of course, formerly Crystal Palace made the switch on a free transfer to Rangers. A couple of seasons there for making a 2 million switch to Portsmouth. Again, came in as a starter, and then by the second season, he kind of faded out for us. So not a bad little bit of business there, getting him through the door. And then the last one was Raul Jimenez coming in for 950k. Of course, by this point, though, he has actually retired. But again, he had 2 seasons at the club. First season, he played quite a lot. Second season, didn't play at all. But first season, though, 950k. 9 goals, 30 games. That's not a bad return for his first season playing for us in the Premier League. So this is where it all gets a bit crazy because we finished 5th in our first season in the Premier League. I said the tactic was good. I didn't think it was that good. So yeah, in 38 games, we won 19, drawing 10, losing 9 all season. We actually lost less games than Liverpool, who lost 11 games as well. 63 goals, conceding 47. We conceded far too many compared to other teams around us in the league. But again, a very good first season, getting 67 points. Again, we was narrow on Liverpool for that spot as well, which meant though, because of how we won the Champions League, we actually qualified for the UEFA Champions League in our first season in the Premier League. Absolutely ridiculous stuff. Honestly, I did not expect that to happen in that first season. Of course, we mentioned the tactic. It's a very good tactic, but the fact we got to the Champions League in our first season is absolutely insane. So not a bad 4th season with Portsmouth here, of course. You saw the transfers, pretty good transfers coming in. And the fact that we managed to qualify for the Champions League in the first season of the Premier League was absolutely insane. And I thought at that point, well, that's the pinnacle. We can't do much more than that. But deep inside, I was like, I want to see how Portsmouth get on within the Champions League. So we thought, let's do 1 more year, 5 years. The plan was get to the Premier League. We've done that, and we've also qualified for Europe in those first 4 years. Season number 5, can we win some silverware? We're in the Champions League. I wonder what will happen. Let's dive in and see what happens for season number 5. So we're back, season number 5 now at Portsmouth, of course. In the Premier League, we had Champions League football this season, and how did things go? Let's touch on that in just a moment. Let's first just have a look at what happened within the transfer market, because of course we were quite busy indeed. Of course, getting Champions League football means you got a lot of money to spend. We spent 60 million. absolutely rinsed it this season. I mean, there's a lot of loan moves, costing quite a lot of money. We'll get into those shortly. Let's start off with the first lots of transfers. Arda Güler came for 15 million to Portsmouth. Absolute star quality player. Of course, in the 4-2-3-1, central camp, very important role. And Arda Güler came in and absolutely smashed it. You only joined in January though. But again, for 12 games, 3 goals, 7 assists, 2 player of the matches, a 7.3 in just that short time. Absolutely amazing stuff from Arda Güler. Also in January, he brought in a new left back in Artur Dularev. He came in from Spartia Praha and in 12.5 million for a new gen. He's not darn bad, really. Again, really good mentals at 20 years of age. Now you can see acceleration of 15, agility of 15, pace of 11, natural fitness of 16. Great mentals there. And even technically as well, good crossing, good dribbling. Again, tackling, passing, all quite high for this new gen. It looks pretty darn good as well. I mean, he already had 21 caps for Czech Republic at this point in the game as well, of course. We bought him in for that first season. 7 games. He didn't start many this season, but someone, again, if someone takes over this save file, of course, if you join the Discord and you do want the save file, let us know and we can give you the resources and we can give you that save file for this to try and see how this guy gets. He could get really, really good, possibly. Maximilian Wojbak came in from Leeds for 10 million this season. I mean, he's been pretty good, to be fair. 31 games, 2 assists. Not well, what more could you expect, really, from a centre-back? He's done pretty darn good, done the job. We need someone better. I wanted a left-footed centre-back, someone who can do the job a little bit better than Pablo Mari on that side. And he's done just that. Absolutely smashed it. Great first season for him. Next one, Alaska Terzic came in from QPR. Again, this guy's just incredible. For the money you're paying for him, honestly, I thought, for this fee, 1.9 million, he's absolutely got everything you look for. Well, for me personally, in that fullback. Good crossing, good dribbling, good passing. You've heard me mention it a few times now, what I look for in fullbacks. He has exactly all of that. 28 years of age, 20 caps for Serbia. A really, really good player and quite cheap as well, of course. At the start of the game, you'd actually find him over at Fiorentina. He went for a free transfer to Leeds, before going on loan to Anderlecht, free transfer to QPR, and then 1.9 million for us. Not bad, really, for free transfer for someone else. So worthwhile looking at that player in your saves. Next up was Vasco Sosa, came in from Juventus. He was available for just 1.6 million. Started the game, of course, over at Porto. Made the switch for Juve for 2.7 million in the end. Went to their 2 clubs in the end and then eventually come to us for 1.6 million. Came as a rotational player. Played 5 times. 5 from the bench. Not a bad midfielder. Again, it was that backup for Gula. Can play the CM role as well. Pretty good, but again, needs a lot more work. You need to get hold of him a lot earlier in your games to really make the most out of this guy. Luke Mabetti came in as well, again, as a backup player this season. He played quite a few times actually in the end as well. You can see here now he played 32 games in total, including the Champions League, of course, this season. So not bad. Again, free transfer, former Man City youth graduate. Not a bad one to bring in. This is the big one though. This new gen, Sebastian Gullet. Gullet? I'm going with Gullet, like Rude Hullet, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, look at this guy. He's absolutely insane. We played him as a striker this season, and he looks absolutely incredible. Dribbling of 16, finishing of 17. I mean, you can play him at wide, crossing of 18 as well. I mean, he's got everything. First touch of 15, work rate of 12, technique 15, passing 15. He's just so darn good. Off the ball at 17, determination 17. And even then, look, physically as well. 17s, 16s. It's just really, really good. We luckily managed to get hold of him. I mean, it did cost us a fair penny, a 9 million loan fee for someone who ended up being our starting striker this season. 13 goals in 35 appearances, so not a lot of goals. But again, he's only 19. He's had 2 French caps already. So an absolutely insane new gen I've seen so far. Probably one of the best ones I've seen this year, actually. It looks absolutely incredible. Someone I'd really like to see how far he actually developed within this game. He's now valued at 50 million. We can't actually buy him. There's an optional feature fee of 50 million. We probably went back to buy him if he did carry on the save anyway. So yeah, back to the loans. Alberto Moreno came in on loan from Manchester United. He wasn't being used there, 24 years of age now. He's good, man. Like, don't get me wrong, he's been at Villarreal, Schalke, Feyenoord on loan since joining Man United for 4.3 million. We paid 3.5 from this season. 27 appearances, 5 goals, 9 assists. Had a very good season for us. Personally, someone I'd probably take if I was to carry on the save. But again, good dribbling of 16, first stretch of 16. He's got pace about him as well still. And again, good passing, high vision of 17. Something you do love to see. We went back to Juventus for this next loan. We got Fabio Moretti in on loan for the season. Again, just more depth in CM. Didn't play a lot of games this season, you can see now. He played 15 in total after his loan spell from January. So, didn't do too badly, really. 2 assists, 1 goal, 6.87 overall average rating. There was an option for fee of 12 million, so it's not bad, really, for the player. But again, just a good versatile player. Can play a few different roles in midfield. He's got that higher work rate, which I've mentioned before. I do love. Good passing, good vision. Good enough to be around the team at 24 years of age. Next up was Andre Santos coming on loan from Chelsea. Again, depth in midfield is very important for us this season. He played 35 times, 1 goal, 1 assist, a 6.81 in total. Again, Games in the Champions League, League Cup, FA Cup, Premier League. He played all around the pitch this season. Again, in that DM role as actual DM as well. Pretty good, pretty darn good. I'd recommend as someone, of course, signed for Chelsea in their massive overhaul in the last 12 months. So someone worth watching your saves. Because, I mean, right now, he's going for absolute pennies within this save. And the last one, again, of course, was another new gen. This one was Dino Vercelli. He came in, the young Italian, on loan from Inter for the season. Again, I've mentioned while liking a fullback, you can see it on the screen. High work rate, he's fast, he can pass. He can do the sort of things I am looking for indeed. So, yeah, there were the incomings, outgoings. Nothing really to mention. A few free transfers, a few cheap ones. We haven't really actually sold anyone for really any big money during this. A lot of free transfers going out the club. No one really left for any big money. But it's an important time of year. Let's find out what happened now at the end of season number 5. So we'll start things off actually with the Champions League at first. You can see here, we were so close to qualifying through the first top 8 qualifications. We were literally on the border, 1 point off. Atletico beating us to it by 1 point in the end. So not bad coming 9th out of all these teams. 36 teams, and we came 9th with Portsmouth. We get ahead of Liverpool, ahead of Man City, Napoli, Bayern. We're ahead of all these big teams. And we're so close to getting Portsmouth through in the automatic A. We end up going through the qualifying stage. Instead, we can see now the playoff round. We actually beat Club Brugge 2-0 in aggregate to get us through to the next round, which was around the 16. And that was one step too far for us. We took Newcastle, who have a very strong team at this point in the game, as you can imagine, with all their money. 4-2 in aggregate in the end. I mean, looking at Newcastle right now, you're absolutely blown away with some of the players that do have in their team right now. I mean, who's this Giorgio Gressi guy? Oh my God, he's another new gen guy. He's absolutely insane. He's their leading striker, 6'2". Says it all. Looks absolutely insane. They brought in Madison. The Gomes still there as well. Tielemans went to him in the end as well. Sven Botman's still there. Frenzneda, one of the best wonder kids, of course, this year within the game. Anatoly Trubin, again, another wonder kid goalkeeper. Looks absolutely mental. Value between 196 million, 235 million. He's absolutely mental. And to put in retrospect, Newcastle actually got the final against Bayern coming up at the end of this season. So, I mean, we got knocked out by the finalists, so that's something, I suppose. We went all the way and we got knocked out eventually by the finalists in Newcastle. But the one we all want to know is the Premier League. It didn't go nowhere near as well this season. We sadly finished out in 9th. We missed out on European football this season. We've done pretty well with Pompey to get home. I mean, last season was an absolute bizarre overachievement, but the fact we managed to get Pompey back into a secure position now in the Premier League, finishing 9th, top half finish this season. You can see 115, draw 7, lost 16 games this season. We lost too many games this season. Scoring 58, conceding 68. 52 points, 2 points behind Spurs, who finished 8th in the Premier League. It's not a bad season. It's not the worst season. The fact that we've got Pompey, one back into the Premier League, and probably secured their status now with the last 2 transfer windows, and the fact that they've had Champions League football in that time as well. Financially, they'll be very well off indeed. And with the final season done, this is how the tactic looked in the end. Our team came together pretty darn good in the end. We've mentioned the likes of Gillet, who came on loan, of course, from Monaco this season. Arda Güler, Malero, Adam Ida leading the line. Simmons has been absolutely important this season. Xavier Simmons has been so good this year for us, man, in this save, actually, to be fair. All 5 seasons, he's been here for 3 of them. He's played most of the minutes out of all the players on this pitch. I mean, we say beforehand, 37 grand is a lot of money to pay for him, but it seems to be worthwhile and had a really good stint for us at this club. There's a lot of low moves in there. That is the only one downside to this rebuild, really. There's been a lot of low moves in here. But Reece Williams, one of the most impressive players I've seen so far within this save. Jumping reach of 18, heading of 16, 6'5", and he scored goals every season. He scored 16 goals this season, 11 goals that season, and only got 4 this season, but he only played 16 appearances due to an injury. But the 2 seasons he did play, though, full-length seasons, 16 and 11 goals. That is not a bad return from centre-back at all for the former Liverpool youth graduate. So let's recap on this 5-year rebuild. Of course, we took over the team over in the 22-23 season, where, of course, they finished 2nd in the Sky Bet League One, which will get promotion into the Championship. And in that first season, finished 11th in the Championship, not bad in our first season, but we massively improved. And second season, we gained promotion through the playoffs, finishing 4th in the league and winning the playoffs. And, of course, then, last season was the dream, finishing 5th, of course, in the Premier League with Pompey before this season, where we have finished 9th now at the end of the Premier League season. Not a bad rebuild indeed here at Portsmouth. So there you have it then. That is my 5-year rebuild here of Portsmouth using the MurphFM Ultimate 4-2-3-1. Of course, the tactic will be linked down below. There's a Discord as well. You can join the Discord. That'll be linked down below. If you want this save file, let me know in the Discord. Get in touch with us and let me know, and I'll send it your way. And of course, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you're subscribing to the channel and giving the video a big thumbs up. And let me know in the comment section, who do you want to see me rebuild next? Thank you for watching. We'll see you again very, very soon.